Hey everybody, it's Mitch, and welcome to my video. Today we are going to be doing another Dungeons & Dragons 3.5 build video. And today we are going to be talking about build that I just like to call just the Unstoppable Powerhouse. This build it's strong. Now, this build is one that if you're going to take it, you really need to talk to your DM and you even more so the party before you do it, because it's going to seriously impact the way all the other people in your party play. Because this build uses the Frenzied Berserker as one of the key elements of it. And Frenzied Berserker has some downsides. Some kind of fun downsides, but also some potentially very problematic downsides. We'll get into that here in a sec. So what is this build all about? Well, it's all about just being an unstoppable force of nature. Like, you are just a martial prowess. Like, you hit so hard. This is a massive damage dealing build. Doesn't have a lot of care for self-preservation. Doesn't need it too much either. And doesn't really need magic. It's a build that can operate pretty well inside an anti-magic field. Although, they are going to use magical weapons. So, there's that. But who doesn't? So, yeah. In order to do this build, first off, I would say you need to be an orc or a half-orc. Because one of the prestige classes that you're going to want to take, and possibly one of the first ones you take, will be the Eye of Grumsh, which isn't great, but at second level it does get Swing Blindly, which does give you a +4 to strength during rage. And its levels do stack with Barbarian for the purposes of rage. So, it's not terrible. And it does work for this. I'd only go 2 levels at first in this one, just because you really only need 2 levels. So yeah, I just stick with 2 levels at least for the beginning. You're also going to want 6 levels of Barbarian, because you just kind of have to in order to get into any of these prestige classes. And Barbarian's definitely the class you want to go with, because Rage is like one of the main things you want to do. Then Bear Warrior is what I would do after the 2 levels. You could get in after 1, but if you can get into Eye of Grumsh level earlier, and since it's 2 levels, you might as well get that extra level. You could also go Frenzied Berserker first as your first prestige class. That works as well, but it's hard to say which one's better in terms of order of operations there. So yeah, Eye of Grumsh might not be a bad way. Get those 2, get that +4 to your strength during rage. It also gives you a -2 to your AC penalty during rage, but you don't really care. Then you want to take about 5 levels of Bear Warrior, at least at first, because those first 5 levels of Bear Warrior are going to let you transform into, I believe it's the black, not the black, I think I forget which one it is. This is the second form of it. I think it might be black, which gives you a +16 to strength during rage, which with that +4 from Eye of Grumsh, that's 20 to your strength from rage. Like, every time you go in rage, 20 more strength. That's, if you're using a 2-handed weapon, which you're gonna be, that's time and a strength and a half. So that's an extra 15 damage just from strength alone, plus an extra 10 to hit. That's good. Then of course you're going to want Frenzied Berserker, and you're going to want all 10 levels of that one. So I think we're at 18 levels now. 6 Barbarian, 2 no, well, we're way beyond that. So yeah, 6 Barbarian, 2 Eye of Grumsh, that brings you up to 8th. 5 more from Bear Warrior brings you to 13th. So yeah, we're at like 23rd level. So yeah, we're already into Epic at this point. So you're gonna have a full base attack bonus. All these classes give full base attack bonuses, and also I think most of them have D12 hit dice, if not all of them. I don't know about Bear Warrior and Eye of Grumsh, but I know Barbarian and Frenzied Berserker definitely do. So yeah, you're going to have crazy high health. But Frenzied Berserker, it gives you an extra 10 to strength when you frenzy, which is separate. That's of course once you get into the full amount of it. So that's really really nice. Um, yeah. So that is a very very good one right there. And you can of course combine Rage and Frenzy together. That works perfectly. So now if you Rage and Frenzy at the same time, you now have a plus 30 to your strength, which is crazy. That is absolutely insane. That's an extra 22 damage, just from strength. That's being added to all your attacks. Plus, of course, the extra plus 15 to hit. Like, wow. And that's on top of what you're already doing with your strength, which is probably going to be your highest stat. It really should be your highest stat, followed by Constitution. Um, yeah, but Frenzied Berserker gives several other things. Well, the fact that uh, it has some downsides. We'll get to those in a sec, but it has some really nice upsides. Like, it gives you better power attack, so you can power attack for extra. So you're power attacking for full, like if you're 20th level, now you're going to be doing, instead of 40 extra damage by sacrificing 20, yeah, you can do 40 extra on a two-handed weapon. You can double that and do 80 extra damage. So yeah, you're 20 less to hit, but it's really only like 5 less to hit when you factor in that extra 15 from Rage and Frenzy. And then on top of that, you have that extra, 22 damage from Rage and Frenzy, plus the extra 80, so that's an extra 102 damage on every single attack. It's absolutely mad how much damage you can do with this build. It's just absolutely crazy how hard you can hit, and that's just with these levels. You take that extra 5 levels in Bear Warrior, which I recommend doing after Frenzied Berserker. You get an extra 4 to hit, 4 strength from your new bear form, and yeah, that's even better. Now you're uh, now you're hitting for even harder. That's an extra 2 to hit and extra 3 damage. Very much worth it. So yeah, you will be an absolute beast in combat with this. It's a really good one. You could combine it with the to some extent with the knockback feat to throw your opponents if you wanted. This build would work really good for that. And that's just like one extra feat. I wouldn't go too heavy on that. You don't really going to get a whole lot of feats, but it does have some synergy with that. You could at least grab the knockback feat. And getting large size just for enlarged person is helpful too. That'll get you an extra plus 2 to strength. It's gonna lower your accuracy a bit, but actually it doesn't. It just lowers your AC ultimately, and yeah, it's really really nice to just how absolutely hard you can hit with this build. Like, okay, and like I was saying with magic weapons, like with how hard this is, not even with any magic, so how much magic weapons add is so minimal when you're already doing 100 and freaking 2 damage, just from this alone, plus any extra damage you'd be doing from just your normal strength, which is gonna be a bit. It's absolutely insane how much damage you can do with this. It's so yeah, adding that extra 5 from Greater Magic Weapon is like whatever. It's upping your accuracy from your attack roll is nice, but the extra damage just it's kind of nothing at that point. I mean, what's the difference between 102 and 107, really? Um, I mean, it's not super significant. So yeah, but yeah, this is an absolutely insane one. if you really don't want to go for it, you can always try and I think there's an alternate class feature that lets you charge, although I think you might lose rage for that, so then it's probably not worth it. But for to get pounce, pounces would work on it, but not the end of the world if you don't have it, because one hit is really all you need. You can really significantly damage a lot of things with a single hit from this guy. It's pretty crazy, and of course, you don't have the same limits of casters of only being able to cast them so many times per day. Yeah, you can only rage so many times per day, and with 5 levels of barrier, it's only twice a day that you can get that form to get that extra massive amounts of damage. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. Frenzied Berserkers also don't have to worry about their health so much because they have Deathless Frenzy. So basically they don't die even if they take massive damage. So I've seen this build played before, and like you can get to I've seen this guy get to negative 300, and he was still fighting. Like he was still fighting hard. This character and ultimately ended up getting killed by calm emotions, which is a very interesting way to kill somebody with calm emotions to forcibly end the frenzy and make it so Deathless Frenzy no longer applies. So that is a weakness there, but man, that and Disintegrate, if you get hit with Disintegrate, even if you make the 4th save, if you don't have metal, you're done if you're at negative health. Because if you take you're at negative 10 or lower after being hit with it, taking any damage from Disintegrate, you disintegrate, and Deathless Frenzy doesn't protect against stuff like that. That's one of a few things that it doesn't protect. Plus, when Frenzy ends, you die. Now, a much bigger problem with this build is, and that I was been alluding to this entire time, is Frenzy's biggest downside, and that is, while in Frenzy, you must attack every turn to the best of your ability. You're going to find some foes, and you're going to attack them as best as you can. You don't have a choice in the matter. You can't say, I think this turn I'm going to sit out. No, if you're in Frenzy, you have to attack every turn. Rage doesn't have these requirements, but Frenzy does. And on top of that, if you don't have any more foes, you still got to attack, which means you're going to have to turn on your friends. Or, just innocent townspeople. I actually saw that one almost happen once. Also, if you take any damage, you have to roll a will save to see if you go into Frenzy or not. You can, just go into Frenzy anytime you take damage, basically, using it if you want. But if you don't want to go into Frenzy after taking damage, you have to make a will save. And if you fail, you go into Frenzy. I think it happens on your turn, but at the start of your turn, but still. I did see the guy who was playing it, he wasn't fully thinking. He was off on his own in the middle of town, and he got frustrated and decided to punch an ice sculpture. And, he took some damage from that because, you're going to take some damage from just punching an ice sculpture. It's going to hurt. Not much, but I'm like, really? All right, make your will save. And he's just like, crap. Because he knew if he failed his will save, he was going to go into a frenzy and start killing the townsfolk. The party wasn't around, so, he was going to, do an evil act. He was going to be basically forced to do an evil act. And not even completely forced. He just got really ticked off and just started killing people. That's something Frenzied Berserkers can do if they happen to take any sort of damage for any reason. So yeah, that is a bit of a problem with them as well. not being able to fully control when they go into frenzy and when they come out of it. That's a little bit of an issue. The fact that they can be forced into it from taking damage for any reason, and that when they're, the battle's over and they're ready to come out of frenzy, maybe they don't want to, or maybe they're not able to make the save and they become a danger to the rest of the party, or maybe they're at negative health and they don't want to come out of it yet. That can be an issue too. When we had our frenzied berserker on our party, Grizz was his name, as you could tell, I might know from my Devil Conquest videos. But yeah, he was quite the interesting one, and we did have to be very creative. Because he was often at negative like 100 HP or negative 300 HP, and the fight was over. But now the combat wasn't over because we had to find a way to cure Grizz so that he didn't die, while also keeping him from attacking us. Bit of a challenge that one was. Grease is a good way to deal with that. It's also a bit of a weakness for frenzied berserkers in general. Just throw some grease on the floor, and that makes it very difficult for them to move, because they can't make dex checks. So slippery floors are a big weakness of the frenzied berserker. It kind of forces them in place, which they're a lot less effective than. They're typically not very good at ranged combat, although it wouldn't hurt to pick up some ranged weapons. Particularly some thrown weapons would be good. So yeah, pretty good build all in all, I think. It's got some obvious weaknesses, like I was mentioning, but it's got some crazy strengths, and those strengths are, strength, and a crazy amount of it. Like, by the time you take, your full 10 levels of Frenzied Berserker and Bear Warrior and the 2 levels of Eye of Grumsh, you're looking at a plus 34 to strength from Rage and Frenzy, which is a lot. It's a lot. So yeah, it's a pretty dang crazy build. And yeah, that's really all I have to say about it. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a like. That really helps out with the channel. Maybe subscribe if you haven't already done so, and ring that bell, because YouTube is terrible about notifications. But anyways, as always, I'm Mitch, and I'll be seeing you